Let's talk about the Nancy Guthrie case. Nancy Guthrie went missing, was reported missing on February 1st by the family, and by all accounts, to a senator or Mark Kelly, instead of calling 911. At least that's what I think happened, because Savannah was probably worried about the public finding out or what might happen. So it's suspicious to me, but understandably possible that she thought she would contact somebody that might know what she should do, because his wife was shot several years before that. And he was in the public, so he would know what to do. At any rate, Pima County Sheriff Nanos was in charge, supposedly, of the investigation, or the spokesperson for the investigation. The first press release that we know of was February 2nd, on a Monday. But according to some of the research I have done, news people were told that he was going to go live with a press release at 9 o'clock on Monday. So it's very possible that news people or people close to the investigation knew he was going to go live. Later on that day, or that day, there was a ransom note at a local TV station demanding money. I forget how much it was, but they didn't offer any proof of life, of whether she was alive or not. They demanded money from the family. We didn't hear too many details about it, about that ransom note. That local TV station turned it in to law enforcement. So we didn't hear much about it until TMZ got a ransom note the next day, which was on the 3rd. They posted it on their news channel on TMZ, and then it became public, and then more ransom notes came. So were the ransom notes bogus and people trying to exploit the family for money? I think it's possible that somebody close to the investigation that knew what happened told somebody, or it's possible they exploited the family for money, even though they had nothing to do with the kidnapping. Or the ransom note is real. Because in today's time, posting it at a local news station is the way to go. I don't know. You would think maybe they couldn't get a hold of Savannah, who was worth millions. So that could be why they posted it at the local news station instead of contacting Savannah. So it's possible the ransom note is real, and it's possible that they did kidnap Nancy, and it's possible she died, which is kind of I'm trying to think about the piece, and I have a link of the piece where the Savannah did with her mother in her hometown, and her mother didn't look that weak or vulnerable. So it's possible they didn't think she was that vulnerable, but she was. She may have looked younger than she actually was, or they made it appear that she wasn't healthier than she was. So it's possible that it is a kidnapping for ransom and that she died. Which strange it is. So that would mean that she died Saturday night or early Sunday morning in the middle of the night. And Sunday, they didn't ask for ransom at the local news station. Did they have to wait till Monday till they were open? That's just kind of weird. So, what would be the timeline on that? And he thought it was because it's possible he thought it was because of her. And that could be why they called Mark Kelly instead of a 911 call that would be public because they didn't want that type of publicity. So I'm not sure about that. But yeah, a lot of people think it's the family. And with the Brian Kohlberger case, where those college students were murdered, I know in the very beginning, we were watching footage of the night that night, and we're like, it's him, it's him. What about him? It's the boyfriend. It's the. We did a lot of that. We had I don't think we knew anything about Brian Kohlberger or until they said, has anyone seen this car? Or something to that effect. And then I want to say within weeks, bam, he was arrested. They didn't do any geofencing in the Brian Kohlberger case where they know what was going on, but they did some sort of internet triangulation and they knew what was pinging on the internet or something like that. And my understanding in one of the press releases for the Nancy Guthrie case, they did license plate readers. I'm not quite sure what that means. And I think that had to do with the arrest of Kayla Day and the other Daly person with the Range Rover. He was arrested and the house was raided inside at the same time when he was pulled over. I think that had to do with the license plate reader or something, that he was in the area or seen in that area. And to my knowledge, the Range Rover was just bought. It had temporary plates on it from a dealership. So, and I think they took that vehicle in or something. I'm not sure. He doesn't have a record, and he did do an interview. But Kayla Day actually has a record. And either she was on probation and was arrested, but on one of the channels, she has a previous burglary. She's got lots of drug charges. Nothing is public about her arrest, but she was with him. And then on another channel, there's some shady stuff that Kayla Day is involved in as far as sex parties and stuff like that. So I'm not going to post what the channel is, who said that. I don't know if it's true or not. But We haven't heard anything about it. It was big at the time. And then weeks later, I want to say the guy was interviewed by Brianna. She's a journalist. And so that went nowhere. But Porch Guy, people were saying he probably had walkie-talkies. And the newest thing is his backpack looks like he had a drone in it. And people are saying, why would he have a drone in his backpack? That makes no sense. Maybe so when he leaves, he can see what happened after he left. We don't know the date of the video. We don't know if the video that Kash Patel posted on X that everybody took from that is 2 different days or what day it is. There was no press release from Sheriff Nanos about it. He did refer to the video about saying that the dates aren't confirmed. But there's been no press release from the investigation about Porch Guy, which has been the big topic of discussion. In my last video, I talked about after Nancy Guthrie went missing, days later, it was all over the social media, was posting about Savannah's interview with the Epstein victims. So a lot of people thought that she was kidnapped because of Savannah doing interviews with the Epstein victims. Now, did somebody purposely start posting that around so people would think that, exploiting the situation? Did the public think that right away? All I know is Kash Patel put a kibosh on that when he posted Porch Guy on social media. Was that crisis management? I don't know. I just find it perplexing that it did put a kibosh on anyone relating Savannah to the Epstein files. It's not on any podcast. Nobody's talking about it. That was kiboshed. So I find that strange. And I also find it strange about the gloves. Again, after Porch Guy video, all the gloves that were found, 16 of them, even after the whole area was searched, I think was planted. Was it planted by the kidnappers because Sheriff Nanos was getting close? Was somebody trying to confuse the investigation? I think so. I do not believe there was rubber gloves all over the place. I don't know who believes that. That's just ridiculous. It just sounds so ridiculous to me, but everybody believes it. Everybody believes that the investigators were just incompetent and missed them. I don't think so. It seems to me if they're looking for Nancy, they're going to pick up especially gloves, even if they didn't see the gloves in the video because they didn't know the video existed. They did that in the Kohlberger case too. I think days later or weeks later, a podcaster did find a glove or something like that too, like a winter glove or something like that. But okay, 1 or 2, 16 gloves found 4th of July fireworks after the whole area has been searched. That's just, I don't know, suspicious to me. But anyway, the narrative that it's related to the Epstein, Savannah doing interviews with the Epstein victims, is that a possibility? Did somebody want her off the air? Was she going to do interviews, more interviews with Epstein victims? Did somebody think that she was going to do more interviews with the Epstein victims? Was there going to be a bombshell that was going to come out that people were hiding behind the scenes? Did they want her off the air? Did somebody want her off the air? And that's why they did it. They kidnapped her mother. She's off the air, so that happened. I don't know. But I do know that Savannah feels guilty in one of her interviews with Hoda that she did feel guilty, that it was about her. What could it possibly be about her then? If it wasn't about the Epstein victims interviews. Well, that's one of the categories: threat or emotional harm to Savannah, to shut her up. Don't do any more interviews. Could it be some powerful millionaire, even from another country, like a Prince Andrew, that was going to come out? Who was the one of the victims? Virginia, I forget her last name, who committed suicide. She did say Prince Andrew. Was there other people that she encountered that she didn't talk about, or that she was frightful to talk about? She definitely wasn't scared of Prince Andrew, but could she have committed suicide because it tore her up that she couldn't talk about it? She was terrified. Did somebody kill her and make it look like suicide so she wouldn't talk about it? Oh boy. There is some fireworks going. Okay, so the Epstein angle. I don't know. It's definitely plausible because there were definitely a lot of talk about it after Nancy Guthrie went missing, days leading up to Porch Guy video being posted by Cash Patel on X. So why isn't anyone talking about that being a possibility then? Does that mean nobody thinks it's a possibility and it was a ruse that they started posting it on social media? But anyway, could it be a powerful person? Wow. My neighbors aren't home, so it's the neighbors next to my neighbors. So, what if it was a powerful person that was worried or caught wind that there was going to be some more interviews of the victims by Savannah and hired some international mobsters to threaten her. That's another angle that nobody's talking about. So I want to know if anyone else thinks that scenario. And then another scenario that somebody brought up in the comments on a channel was somebody that Savannah works with, which I thought was really interesting because it could be cutthroat there. She's got a lot of airtime. She's very popular. So could it be somebody that she knows from work? Gosh, she's not talking about it, but I'm sure Sheriff Nano said something about her security team in the very first press release that, they're in contact with her security team. So I'm sure if she thought somebody was behind it from work, did she have any enemies at work? Was there any discourse at work? It doesn't sound like anybody asked it in either of his press releases. He's did a couple of them, and I don't think any of the journalists asked him that. Could it have something to do with her employment? We don't know anything about it. Similarly, we don't know anything about Tommaso and Annie, like none of their friends are even on any podcast. Oh, I've known her for years. It definitely wasn't her. She's the sweetest person, or no, she's a hellion. We haven't heard anything. So but that's another scenario. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you have any other scenarios to look at. Let's see. Wow. What's interesting is they do have DNA, but it's mixed with other DNA, and it's going to be hard to tease it out. Geez, it's been months. You haven't teased it out by now? That's strange. Apparently, there's a way to do it. So, this is July 4th, and it was February, March, April, May. It's been 5 months. You think they would have some DNA back by now? In the Brian Kohlberger case, they did genealogy. Could they be doing genealogy? My understanding, if it's a Hispanic person, that there's not that many people in the database for them to do genealogy to trace it back to their parents and different lineages. So if it's a person or persons with Hispanic descent, genealogy is very difficult for them to trace back to relatives because there's not many in the database. So That could be an issue with DNA. But now people did talk about him, the porch guy, putting a flashlight in his mouth and getting spit on it and everything. So happy 4th of July. Woo! I wish I could see it, but a house is in the way. Oh, a tree's in the way. I can see little sparks of it, but not much. But there's a huge tree between me and the neighbor that's 2 doors down. So I can't really see anything. But anyway, so the DNA, interesting. The license plate readers, apparently, that Sheriff Nanos talked about, like, how do they do that in an investigation? How do they investigate? Let's see if we can figure out. How do they investigate license plate readers if looking for a suspect? Using automated license plate readers, querying the vehicle's plate number across interconnected local, state, and national law enforcement database to trace geographic movement. They already have to know the suspect's license plate. Investigators log into a software. If a full plate is unknown, investigators can filter searches by partial characters, vehicle make, model, color, or unique identifying features like a roof rack. When hunting an active or dangerous suspect, police use ALPR networks to intercept them in mid-travel. The suspect's plate number is entered into an active hot list with local police databases, state vehicle registries, or national networks like National Crime Information Center. The movement the suspect drives past any active ALPR camera, whether mounted on a traffic pole, a highway overpass, or a police cruiser's rooftop, the camera reads the plate in milliseconds. Apparently, they did that on Saturday night or Sunday. That was mentioned in Sheriff Nano's first press release on February 2nd. Or they were doing that. Or they did it, or they were doing it. So that's interesting. I wonder if that's how the couple, the one Range Rover, how that sparked that, was in the area. I mean, they were arrested, but they were let go or something like that without a warrant. That's odd. See, at the time, law enforcement thought she was kidnapped and maybe still alive because it was within a week or weeks or something. So they were grabbing at straws. But, there's no way they might have walked to break into a house and then walk out without a vehicle, but they certainly didn't take Nancy Guthrie without a vehicle. Unless they took her out from the desert behind the house. That don't make sense. Because there's busy roads. Like, it's a winding subdivision, my understanding, And then there's busy roads all around that subdivision. So these license plate readers or any cameras would have caught somebody, the people that were on that road at whatever time frame they were looking at. Apparently 9:45 she was dropped off till, till her pacemaker went off. So they do have a time limit. So nothing came of that. That's just weird. Unless there was, there couldn't have been that many vehicles in the middle of the night passing through. If I'm driving in the middle of the night, there's nobody on the road. There's nothing open in my county at 3:00 in the morning. And if you're driving at 2-3 o'clock in the morning, you're very suspicious looking. So think about it. They took her in a vehicle in the middle of the night and drove her somewhere. So that's just really weird. Unless this was all well thought out and she's down the street somewhere in a house that was staged and planned months in advance. The Epstein situation, or an employee, a coworker mad at her, could have been brewing for a really long time. But who's got the Epstein situation? If it's somebody that's a billionaire, prominent, even from another country, could hire the international mob to do that for sure. And they do stuff like that in other countries. So that could have been well planned. They could have just drove her right down the street to a house that nobody knew about. And then even weeks later, take her in a truck and nobody be even the wiser. It's not like people were being stopped here and there every day after she went missing. But she could have been right under everybody's nose. Or, so how did that vehicle leave that area with her without no camera or nothing? That's just weird. Unless there's mob related, that people are well connected with law enforcement that may be trying to confuse the investigation. That's another angle. Because that's just weird. They caught Koberger within 2 months. I don't know. Put your thoughts in the comments. Which scenario you think happened? Was it the family? Was it a burglary? The scenario that a burglar went in there, the only thing to me is burglars don't like to go in a house where people are in. Yeah. But maybe they did, and they thought she wouldn't wake up, and she woke up. So that's possible. And it's possible that's what happened. And we're all just thinking all this crazy shit. And the truth of the matter is, they just went in there to steal something. Maybe she didn't have anything to steal. It was all in a security deposit box at the bank. People don't keep their expensive jewelry, especially an elderly woman that don't go out that much, in her house when she's got work guys all over and this and that. I mean, if you've got really expensive jewelry, you keep it in a safe deposit box. So maybe they just assumed she had all this jewelry and she didn't. People don't have cash on hand anymore. So, they went in there to steal stuff and it didn't happen. And as they're rummaging through, she woke up. And then she died. And then they started rummaging through the house looking for stuff and realized who she was. And decided that even the ransom they would do after she died. It just took them a day to make up and figure out how they were going to do it. So maybe it wasn't a planned kidnapping. So that's another scenario. Well, I hope everyone's having a good 4th of July. Be good to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Enjoy your weekend, especially if you're alone. Do some self-care. Take care of yourself. And hit subscribe. Hit like. Let me know which scenario you're thinking. Or do you have another scenario that we could discuss? I don't know if I'm going to go live on Sunday, but I might go live next weekend. I'm going to be discussing a few different cases. Tyler Robinson, the Murdoch trial, whatever else might come up. But I'll pop on, and I definitely want to hear what you think. So anyway, have a great night. See ya.